Good morning, everyone. I'm glad you guys are watching today, whether you're watching live or later. Glad that you could hop on and see where we are. We're going to be finishing John chapter 5 today. Thanks so much for everybody who watched yesterday's video. I was super passionate about yesterday's, if you couldn't tell. And so that was awesome, and that's been one of my most viewed videos so far. That's great. That's one of my favorite ones. So cool. Today we're jumping in and finishing John 5 though. And I'll be honest with you, today is a little bit heavy, okay? But we're going to push through it, and we're going to learn something from it because Jesus is worth it, all right? So John chapter 5, finishing it up, we're going to start in verse 31. He says, if I testify about myself, my testimony is not valid. There is another who testifies in my favor, and I know that his testimony about me is valid. What is he talking about? He's talking about John the Baptist. He's about to say so. You have sent to John, and he has testified to the truth. Not that I accept human testimony, but I mention it that you may be saved. John was a lamp that burned and gave light, and you chose for a time to enjoy his light. That's kind of poignant to me because I asked that question about myself. Am I a lamp that burned bright and gave people light? That's something that I have to ask myself. Verse 36, I have testimony weightier than that of John, for the very work that the Father has given me to finish, and which I am doing now, testifies that the Father has sent me. And the Father who sent me has himself testified concerning me. You have never heard his voice, nor seen his form, nor does his word dwell in you, for you do not believe the one he sent. You diligently study the Scriptures because you think that by them you possess eternal life. These are the Scriptures that testify about me, yet you refuse to come to me to have life. What's he saying there? He's saying you don't get salvation without Jesus. I do not accept praise for men, but I know you. I know that you do not have the love of God in your hearts. That's heavy. I have come in my Father's name, and you do not accept me. But if someone else comes in his own name, you will accept him. How can you believe if you accept praise from one another, yet make no effort to obtain the praise that comes from only God? But do not think I will accuse you before the Father. Jesus doesn't accuse us before God. Your accuser is Moses, or the law, on whom your hopes are set. If you believed Moses, you would believe me, for he wrote about me. But since you do not believe what he wrote, how are you going to believe what I say? Heavy stuff there this morning, but really Jesus is just boiling it down to one thing that we can take away from today, and it's you can't have salvation without Jesus. You can't have eternal life without Jesus. You can't have righteousness without Jesus. That's it. That's all he's saying. And he's specifically talking to the Pharisees there that they believe in the law, or the law of Moses, which is what he was referring to, the Ten Commandments. And they righteously followed every single aspect of that, even adding more rules to those things. And they thought that got them salvation. So Jesus is saying that no other source that we try to have for salvation is valid. None. Just Jesus. And so my question for you today is, what are you trusting in other than Jesus? What are you trusting in for feel goods? What are you trusting in for righteousness? What are you trusting in for life? What are you trusting in for eternal life other than Jesus? I'll be honest with you, just because I don't ever want to be preachy. I want to tell you about my life. My life, I oftentimes trust in money. And it's always come up short. Every single time I've never had enough money. Whether it was when I was 12 and was mowing yards and was trying to make extra money, I had enough maybe to go out and hang out with my friends, but I always wanted more. Same thing when I was a little bit older. I worked several different jobs when I was a little bit older to kind of take care of myself. I kind of had to in my family situation. I had to take care of myself, make my own money, and make my life work. So I thought it was on me and depended on me to provide. And even still, even as an adult, I often try to make money kind of my idol, kind of the thing I depend on to say, if I just make enough money, then I'll be safe, I'll be secure. And so for Jacob, that's my answer. What is something you trust in for your salvation? What is something you depend on in your life? And that's really what Jesus is saying here. He's saying whether it's the law, which we definitely don't follow because the law demands perfection. I am not perfect. For those of you who know me pretty well, I mess up quite often, and I will never be the one to say, look at me. But I'm not perfect. Jesus is showing those Pharisees who followed every single rule that doesn't work either. And so the real question is, why not Jesus? Why those things other than Jesus? And I would really ask you to be honest with yourself, to be honest with yourself and see how those things that we've trusted in before aren't cutting it. The people in our lives that we depend on to save us, to make us feel better, to make us have a fulfilling life, they've probably hurt us. The money, for my sake, the money in my life has never been enough. Even when I've gotten more, even when I've had bigger paychecks, I've spent all of them and not had any savings, and that shows my heart, and that's not good enough for me. And so I don't know what it is for you, but I would ask you to be honest with yourself, to question yourself, those things that you trust in and depend on, have they really done it? Have they really been the solution and the answer? I would bet a lot of money that they aren't. I would bet a lot of money that they've left you short in the past, that they've kind of disappointed you before. And that's what Jesus is saying. He's saying, I am the only way. I'm the only way to be saved. I'm the only way to have abundant life and eternal life. What is it for you? What do you trust in other than Jesus? And can you see that is not enough, that has failed you? Yeah, that's all I got for today. I could go further and further. There's a whole lot of instances, but I would rather know from you guys, what are some things that you have trusted in the past that have failed you? I'm interested to know. There's quite a few of you joining live. Comment on this, comment on it later when you're watching. I don't care, but I am interested to gauge your opinions. What are some things in your life that you put over Jesus and trusted in and depended on, and that have ultimately not been a solution? Interesting topic today, but I'm going to choose to trust in Jesus because he hasn't failed me yet. And that's all I have for today. So, love you guys. Thanks for watching. We are through 5 chapters of John, and I'm stoked about that. So, we're going to hop in after Labor Day weekend, and I hope you guys can join in after that. But I will tell you, I am going to take the Monday off because Maddie has that Monday off from her job, and we're going to chill because we haven't really had time to hang out too often yet. So next Tuesday will be the next video. We're going to jump into John chapter 6. So love you guys. Hope that Jesus does something impactful for you this weekend and that you can experience and encounter him in a new way today. Would love to hear from you. We'll see you next Tuesday. Bye.